Hey you guys, Cap1 here. It's been a while since I've made a new video, but I think this one is a important one to make right now with the current state of the meta being the way that it is, because I think that the proper build for Singed since the start of the preseason has changed. I think that the proper runes for him have changed as well. We're actually doing an invade right now, and you guys can go ahead and watch that. I actually started E on this invade as soon as I saw the gold card land on Cho'Gath. I was unskilled up until now, you can see in the bottom left, but then we end up getting the gold card and I end up just running him down and flinging him. But yeah, so I think that actually the build has changed for Singed. I think the runes have changed for Singed too. There have been repeated nerfs. So I'm going to go over everything that's kind of made the meta shift for Singed. There have been repeated nerfs to the sorcery tree, mostly Summon Airy got hit. I think Scorch got hit as well. Ultimate Hat is still good. Celerity got nerfed, but I still take Celerity as secondary with Ultimate Hat. And Gathering Storm is just garbage. None of the other runes in Sorcery I think are good for Singed. So what I'm running is Aftershock, Resolve Primary as my keystone, and the reason why is because the tankiness is very necessary in the current meta. Top lane is shifting back towards fighters like Camille, especially. There's lots of Gangplank, but I permaban Gangplank because Gangplank is, I think, just an impossible matchup for Singed right now. I've seen some Fiora. There's a lot of Gnar. There's a lot of like semi-carry / tanky bruisers, like OP basically top laners. It's not like the classic bruisers are not what's meta. You're not playing against like Rylais, you're not playing against Jaxes. You're playing against like a lot of really overpowered bullshit like Camille, Gangplank. There's some Riven in there. It all just kind of depends, but the moral of Vladimir is a big one up top too. But the moral is there's a lot more damage in top lane, and that has led to a need to have more tankiness overall, because if you don't have the tankiness, you just kind of lose you just die basically on teamfight entry. Also, another thing about having Resolve Aftershock as your keystone means that you can actually build two damage items first instead of just one. You can go. I've been going Liandrys into Rylais. I think that the damage from Liandrys is actually more valuable than the slow from Rylais. And with Aftershock, you are able to build that item first and still have like tankiness to survive a fight. And then after that, you can actually build straight into Rylais, because the tankiness combination from Aftershock and your ultimate makes you quite tanky without having a tank item second. I think that's really, really good for Singed. So we ended up getting a kill on Camille here because she overextends and blows her flash too late. Just fling her here, and then we end up chasing her down and killing her. But I want to keep going on my other rune setup, so I'm taking a... what is it? The next step down from the keystone, I'm taking Unflinching. Unflinching gives you tenacity whenever you pop summoner spells, and when your summoner spells on cooldown, you also get tenacity. So I found that Unflinching on Singed is very, very good to have, almost necessary almost every single game, unless you play against a comp that for some reason has no CC, which would be odd. But if that happens, then you can probably take Demolish. But I've been taking Unflinching because for Singed as a character, it's very, very valuable. Now, I'm roaming down here because I know that Cho'Gath has no flash from blowing it early on, and if we manage to get a kill here, it's really big because it just sets Cho'Gath even more behind. So I roam down. Really good play by Zach to be able to maximize his control over the jungle. So after taking Aftershock and Unflinching, my next one, the third tree depends. You have a choice between Iron Skin, Mirror Shell, and Conditioning. So usually if I'm playing versus like a Jace or a Gnar, I will take Iron Skin to survive the lane. If I'm playing versus like a AP top, like say Vladimir, Swain, Lissandra, fucking Teemo, Heimer, things like that, just really, really cancerous stuff, I will take sorry, Iron Skin in order to survive the lane. This game, I decided, okay, so my philosophy of playing versus Camille is basically to play very, very passively at level 1 and level 2, because she will outtrade you very hard. In this situation, I have double buffs and I have an EXP advantage, so I decided to take the trade on her. And because I'm so far ahead, I can take that trade and get out ahead, but she couldn't, which is why I'm taking that trade. But generally versus Camille, like, it used to be before they buffed Camille, Singed would be able to outduel her and kill her at most points of the game. The recent buffs to Camille, I think they buffed her E, they buffed her Q, and they buffed her W, I think. They nerfed her passive shield a little bit, but it's still really fucking good. but overall Camille is probably the single best top laner in the entire game besides Gangplank. I permaban Gangplank, so I don't deal with him. And I also ask my team to ban Kog'Maw because I can't spend a ban on Kog'Maw. I think as long as Kog'Maw and Gangplank are banned, you can do pretty well with Singed right now. Singed is not as strong as he used to be. He's actually getting close to he's like a 50.2% win rate. He's actually dropped quite a bit. I think Singed is well within the realm of balanced right now. I think if you're a good Singed player, you can succeed on him, but you have to be adaptable and you have to be flexible. So this game, because I'm playing my intention was to play very defensively versus Camille. I decided to take conditioning. And what was really good about me taking conditioning here is I got early kills, which led to me being able to really snowball my damage. So the conditioning, they can't pressure me while I don't have it. So whenever 10 minutes rolls around, I have the defensive stats. It's that much better because I'm able to play without them for a while pretty safely because I'm so far ahead. Generally, I will also take conditioning into tanks and playing versus like a Maokai or Ornn. I'll take conditioning because they have a harder time killing you. I'll also take conditioning versus things like, I guess I already said Camille because we're playing against her. But any like really easy matchups, I'll take conditioning into. Like Jax, you can take conditioning into as long as you're experienced in the matchup. You can still pretty much beat a Jax with conditioning. The very bottom tree in Resolve, I always take Second Wind. Second Wind is easily the best rune in that entire row, so I'm taking Second Wind every single time. It's really good with Singed. It synergizes with its ultimate pretty well, so I take it. Right here, I want to pause really quick. So if you guys look at my EXP bar in the bottom left, you will see that I am very close to leveling up. I'm actually one creep away from leveling up there. So the reason I engaged on Camille while she's 6 and I'm 5 is because I want to bait her into fighting me. I know that her flash is still down from us using it before, or having her use it before, which means that the only way she will fight me now is if she thinks she has an advantage. So the way I make her think she has an advantage is by letting her, she gets to 6 and I fight her while I'm 5. The Aftershock that I get here lets me take a lot of damage from these minions, and it won't let me take the tree damage, but lets me take a lot of damage from the minions, which keeps me pretty healthy. And then as soon as one of the creep sides, I hit 6 right there, pop my ultimate, she starts backing off immediately, but she's already screwed at this point. Just run along with her with poison, and then fling her for the kill right here. So, I want to keep going on talking about my itemization and why Aftershock lets Singed be a little bit more different in the current patch. You need the survivability. Actually, I should continue going over my runes. So my secondary, I'm taking sorcery. So it's Resolve Sorcery. My secondary runes, almost every game, are Ultimate Hat and Celerity and Sorcery. Ultimate Hat is amazing for Singed Ultimate because it has such a high cooldown ever since they nerfed it. And Sorcery just synergizes perfectly with Singed and Singed passive, so Sorcery I think is important to have, just because it's really good on him. And there's honestly nothing better to take in the Sorcery tree. Like, Gathering Storm is still really bad. You could take Scorch, but I think Celerity is more useful for the movement speed in and of itself, so I'm not taking Scorch. But yeah, Resolve Sorcery, Aftershock Primary, Keystone. It's working pretty well, and the reason why is because I can afford to build 2 offensive items first. Almost every game, I'm going Liandrys into Rylais, and if I don't go Liandrys into Rylais, I'm going Liandrys into a defensive item if I really need to. Like, if I really need to be more tanky, I'll sometimes go Liandrys into Deadman's, or Liandrys into Abyssal Mask. But people playing Sanders were already doing that before with the old Airy build. I actually like this build a lot more because I can go Liandrys into Rylais most games and be that AP Bruiser, like tanky maniac, like damage dealing Singe that we know and love from back in earlier seasons, like especially season 4 and season 5, season 3, seasons like that, before the whole like Singed apocalypse happened in season 6 and like half of season 7 where he was just horrible for a year and a half. But yeah, it really reminds me of back in season 5 when I first got Challenger, how a Singed felt, because you're able to build these 2 damage items and still be moderately tanky enough to survive like the initial burst of a team fight. And if you can get to that point where you have enough freedom to run around in the fight, you can burn people down with your Liandrys into your Rylais and just kill them very quickly with the survivability. My first item versus Camille, I have a Ninja Tabby, because I think Ninja Tabby is really important to have versus that comp. They have 3 auto attackers, 2 of which are primarily AD. And Tabby is just really good versus Camille. You need the movement speed, and you also need the armor, because every single one of her abilities is physical damage. Her Q also does true damage if you get hit with that second proc, but Q primary proc does physical, W does physical, her E does physical, her R does physical, so you want to be able to tank that somehow. And the movement speed is just nice. So right here, TF ults onto Cho'Gath, and I realize that we can just burst him down and kill him if we get him, so pop my ultimate, fling him back, we kill. Probably didn't need to pop my ultimate, but it's good that I did because I have movement speed now. I can run up to this Corki and catch him. He overextended pretty hard with no flash, so I fling him into my team, get the kill on him. That's 2 picks for free, only at the cost of my ultimate, which is really, really good. So I'm going Tabby into, the reason I don't have Haunting Geist first is because I'm looking at the enemy team's items and none of them have MR. Otherwise, you usually go Haunting Geist first, because usually what happens whenever you start building AP on Singed is the enemy laner will go Hex Drinker, or they'll go Spectre's Cowl, or some MR item like that. But in this case, she didn't. So I'm just going, all the damage components of Liandry's first, which is Blasting 1 and Amp Tome to have as much AP as possible, because if they don't have magic resistance, then your AP is that much more valuable. Once they get some magic resistance, yeah, the 15 M-Pen of Haunting Guys is more valuable, but I'm looking at their team, and I'm deciding, hey, you know, they don't have any MR, I can just buy straight AP, and I'll do a lot of damage, which ends up paying off really hard. At this point, I'm already 5-0. I've gotten several kills. I'm snowballing really, really hard. I have 10 stacks on my Dark Seal. I'm going to have my full Liandry soon, and you guys will see the actual team fighting power that Aftershock gives whenever some team fights actually start rolling around. Going into Rylais right after, just to have the double burn. The survivability is very, very nice to have. You really, really need it. Ever since the top lane meta shifted away from tanks and into Gnar and into Camille and into Jace and into Gangplank and into Fiora, like shit like that, Vladimir, you really just need the survivability. Without the survivability on Singed, I think right now you will get completely fucking melted at the start of every fight, and it's not fun. But Aftershock actually lets him kind of function in the meta, which is good. Gonna fast forward a bit here, put on directed cam because there's some shit happening bottom. There's like a trade that happens over a ward here, and it actually triggers me to teleport, but they're just poking back and forth with Leona. They actually don't have vision of Cho'Gath because he's pinked out. But TF's ready to TP. They end up starting the fight here with level 5 Morgana, which kind of sucks. But I channel my teleport here, and then I noticed that Zac puts them right here with the ultimate, so I put grounding there. Tristan is lucky because she just walks off, and then I think I get her jump here. Yeah, she jumps away, but my Liandrys is like, look at how much damage I'm doing to Cho'Gath. Like, he's just fucking completely melting. I want to actually play that back one more time. Like, he actually just kind of disappears from the damage of my Liandrys this early on in the game. 11:56, 12-minute Liandrys, basically. I'm not even focusing him. I'm not even, like, he's just completely fucking disintegrating to the damage of my Liandrys because I have it so early on. I'm allowed to do that because I don't need to have, like, any tank items first because of Aftershock, which is really, really nice. I don't even need to have them second. I think that was, like, for me, that was the one thing I really fucking hated about taking Summon Aerie, is that you just weren't really that tanky at all. Even with your ultimate up, you just weren't tanky, and you needed to have a tank item second every single game, and I really hated that. But I think with this build, you can have a lot more damage. You actually have more damage while you're more tanky, I think, because you're able to go 2 damage items. So, like, even if you don't have Aerie, even if you don't have Scorch, even if you don't have the extra AP for taking Sorcery first, or sorry, Sorcery Primary, you have fucking Liandry's into Rylais. Like, you have Double Burn, you have Magic Pen, you have a shit ton of AP, you have health to back it up. Like, you live longer, so you do more damage that way. Like, I think this is way better, honestly, than taking Summon Aerie. I don't like Summon Aerie. I think this is better than Spellbook, too. Because Spellbook, like, you kind of need... It suffers from the same problem, right? Spellbook doesn't let you be tanky. You enter a fight with Spellbook, and you just kind of you just die. Honestly, you just fucking die. And it feels really bad. I know that a lot of Korean players, and even some NA Singed players, are taking Spellbook. I disagree with it. I think Aftershock is honestly just straight up better. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I've had so much success so far this season running Aftershock. Unfortunately, it is still like a shitty bot lane meta. But the thing about Singed is he has the option to proxy and avoid like some of the shitty matchups top, and then he can like teleport bot without losing much if he's in the middle of a proxy. So he's a little bit less susceptible to it. I'm gonna pause right here. So he's a little bit less susceptible to it, but he's still pretty okay. His win rate has gone down quite a bit. He went from like a 53% win rate, and he's like almost less than 50% right now. But I kind of enjoy where he is right now. I think if Fiora was like the top pick, top lane again, I'd probably feel a lot differently. I'd be fucking really upset and feel like Singed is really weak if she was a top lane top pick. But it's Camille who's a little bit like, don't get me wrong, Camille is still really absurdly strong. And so is Gangplank. Like, honestly, Gangplank's more strong than Fiora right now. But Fiora is just such a tilting matchup for me that I think it's okay right now. Bot lane meta, like I said before, ask for a Kog'Maw ban and tell your team the reason why is because you have to ban Gangplank, and you will climb, I think, right now. As long as Kog'Maw and Gangplank are off the table for the enemy team, you should be good to go. As long as you learn how to play around your Aftershock procs. But my items here, I bought a Blasting Wand into an Amp Tome for the same reason. They still have very little MR. Like, Cho'Gath has Merc Treads and Camille has a fucking Null Magic Mantle, but I have basically enough Magic Pen to cancel those items out. So I'm going to continue going into AP. I have Ghost up, I have Ult up. This next fight I'm technically really strong and prepared for. I'm positioning right here to try and bait Cho'Gath into walking up. I put a ward down to like kind of persuade him to come kill it, and he doesn't pop his sweeper or anything like that. He actually doesn't even have a sweeper. He probably should, but he for some reason like walks up to me, and I just put my ultimate, walk right up to him, and get a fling. Now I want to make note of something right here. I'm tanking 1, 2, 3, 4 people right here, and I get Camille ulted. I should be taking a lot more damage than I am. If I had Aerie, I might even die there, honestly, with Aerie or Spellbook. But look at my armor, 245. Look at my MR, 190. With ultimate, with Aftershock, right? That's a lot of fucking resistances. Even for late game, that's a lot of resistances. So it gets me tanky enough to where I can just run, dive into the back line, then start doing a hell of a lot of damage to Tristana. I got her heal right there. What's her face? Leona is actually about to burn to death with my damage output. So she pops her stopwatch there. I get the flash also off of Tristana, so she's useless next fight. And then we kill the Leona. I just end up taking blue buff. I think Morgana actually steals it here, which is kind of shitty. But I think that's like a really fucking prime example of why Aftershock can be so good, is because you can like temporarily at least frontline, and I absorbed a lot of damage from their team because of those resistances, which is really good. Gonna go ahead and fast forward a bit. But yeah, like, I think that fight's a really good demonstration of why I think Aftershock is so absolutely valuable right now. There's gonna be a few more team fights in this game where it shows how valuable it is. I actually ended up hard carrying this game really hard. I think I was 11 or 10, 0, and 11 this game, I think. Here's something I want to make you guys aware of. When you don't want to overpush top lane when your team is sieging mid. As soon as I'm pinging my my teleport cooldown and everything, so as soon as I see my team pushing up, I run straight to them. I don't want my team to get caught in a team fight without me. We get Cho'Gath's flash there because he overextended. Then TF just goes, like, he just goes ham for a fight here. He really wants to fight. Pops Ghost, he just gets a stun and a gold card, or sorry, he gets a stun and a Q. Harassment rotation off. Zac just dives straight in. He's being really brave, I think. He pops his Aftershock. I pop mine, I run in. We end up actually disengaging for a while, but it's okay. We, keep looking for a fight. I have my ultimate running, so I want to fight right now, but at the same time, like, it's okay if we don't get a fight because we are still so really far ahead. Camille jumps in, I immediately fling her in, get my Aftershock. I'm tanking, I run under Tristana, she ults me away. I try to finish the kill, but she jumps away. I make her use her jump back off as soon as I get exhausted. I back off immediately because when I get exhausted, exhaust actually reduces your armor and MR. So I want to back off because it makes me squishier. Leona missed her Zenith Blade onto me, so I just walked right out, and we got a bunch of kills without losing anybody, which is really good. I recall here, and I buy my Rylais, and I buy a Ruby Crystal, and my intention with this Ruby Crystal is to build it into a tank item. Now, right now I'm thinking Deadman's Plate, because they have, the only healing they really have is from Fleet Footwork on their carries and Cho'Gath's passive. Their support doesn't heal, and their support doesn't have a redemption. Camille can heal, yeah, but like her W heal is honestly not that much if she can only use it once or twice in a team fight. And Tristana does not have like a Vamp Scepter or a Bloodthirst or anything like that. She doesn't have a Blade of the Ruin King. She's not building into it either. She's building, she has Static Shiv, and she's going to go into, I'm assuming, Infinity Edge. So very little healing on their team, which means Thornmail is less valuable here and Deadman's Plate is more valuable. Now, if they have healing, Thornmail is much better, but Deadman's Plate gives more health, a little bit less armor, but you get the amazing movement speed passive on Deadman's Plate, which I think is really, really good for Singed. Right here, I see a fight happening. TF picks out Cho'Gath, and he's like zoning them out. I made a mistake right here. I shouldn't have popped the Ghost. I'm actually going to replay that one more time and show you guys what I saw TF doing. I see TF popping his ultimate right here. He's trying to cut off Cho'Gath. He dodges the stun, and he gets the gold card on him. I honestly should have just not popped the Ghost because we got the Morgana binding, but the fact that I popped it, it's okay because we're so far ahead, but that was a really bad mistake by me. If this game was closer, that Tristana would have been able to make a huge team fight playing next fight because my Ghost was down in a really bad usage because that Cho'Gath was dead no matter what. We know he didn't have flash, but ends up being okay again because we're really far ahead. That's something I think I need to work on personally, is making sure that I'm not so liberal with my Ghost cooldown. I tend to be one of those Singed players who just uses Ghost whenever he can, every time that he can, and I think sometimes I really pay the price for it. But again, this game it's okay because we're so far ahead. Like I said, I'm probably going to build into a Deadman's Plate, and then after Deadman's Plate, my second tank item would probably be Abyssal Mask, which also increases Singed damage output a little bit. Don't do what this Ezreal did. You see this, what this Ezreal just did right there with the plant, the warding plant, that he blew over here for some reason. No, we have a pink on dragon. We have this warded. Like, there's no reason to use that there. If anything, he needs to walk behind the plant here and proc it this way. That way, if there's someone following us, we will see them. If there's wards here that are scouting us, we can see it. But there's a pink on dragon itself. We don't need to blow the warding plant that way. We should use it against them. That's their warding plant. Always pop it into their jungle. If you're in a situation like this where you already have vision and coverage, like we actually have 2 pink wards. Like there's absolutely no reason to use that that warding plant that way. We have, this is our yeah, that's our third dragon. We get the what is it? Ocean dragon. So we have a lot of regen now too, which is good for a siege. I start heading back towards top lane because I noticed that the wave's pushing. There's like some fighting happening over here, but they end up getting the blue buff and walking away, which is good. I clear this wave and I start heading back down towards my team. Don't want to overstay. If we look at the vision coverage from their team, they have no fucking Baron vision. We cleared everything out, and we have a sweeper that was used on our Baron, so they have nothing in terms of vision there. So they don't even know that we're doing this as we're doing it. So we get a Baron because we have just that big of a lead. Honestly, their only like slightly bad player is Tristana, and she's actually starting to lose in CS to Ezreal soon. But yeah, really big Baron play for us because we just completely controlled their jungle, we completely controlled their vision. TF actually prematurely ulted top in order to get Baron on these minions to get a little bit of tower damage, which is good. This is another thing I think that's important to do, not just on Singed, but in general, is to run with your Baron creeps into the lane. You make the siege happen so much more easily because you can get the creeps in range of the turret much faster and start sieging. Zac dives. I try to penetrate their backline with my Rylais Liandrys Rylais into Aftershock with my ultimate and my Ghost. Triss ults me away. She wants to save her flash. We blew her heal. I'm gonna play that one more time just to kind of show how tanky I get with Aftershock up. Okay, watch this. I get blown away. I'm getting focused, but look at this. 288 armor, 225 magic resistance with Rylais and Liandrys. I have 349 AP because of my celerity proccing with my ultimate and my passive. I lose the movement speed stacks, and I go down to 334, I think. Just a lot of AP. With the combination of ultimate, celerity, ghost, everything. It's quite a big power spike. And I'm able to do that because I have 10 stacks on Dark Seal. I have 2 AP items. Celerity is like helping me out. Like everything is adding up to be able to have like that ridiculous amount of AP and to be able to just kind of dominate the team fight and run through and do damage. Finish up Deadman's Plate here, run bottom to farm. Deadman's Plate, again, it has amazing synergy with Singed passive, it has amazing synergy with celerity, it has amazing synergy with just needing to just Singe in general. It's really good. We're just doing a slow siege on their bot lane here. Again, here's the thing about Baron that you guys might not know. If you have here, watch the creeps movement speed. right? See how fast they're going? They're going 439. The Baron buff creep movement speed is based on the highest movement speed of the closest closest ally team member. So with Deadman's Plate and Celerity, I boost the minions' movement speed quite a bit, and I'm able to run them down the lane faster. So we start sieging here. I think we're waiting. Okay, I see a binding on Corki right there, so I pop everything that I have, and I just run straight for Tristana because I want to kill. I see that she's getting CC'd by Zac, and I want to kill her. I actually get the fling on her right here, and she dies. Finally get the kill on her. Then right here, I'm just running around in their back line. I get an Aftershock proc on Corki, I dodge the Camille E, get the slow with the auto attack on him, and just auto attack him one more time with poison burning on him for the kill. Really clean fight overall. I'm gonna play through it one more time. Just because I think it's a really clean fight. Okay. So the binding happens on Corki right here, and just run straight through their team. And they can't really do anything about it because I'm just destroying them. And he's dead. Well, my team focused on Cho'Gath. So then we just take the tower, or sorry, I run straight for the Nexus towers because my minions are on it. Then they surrender and we win. So I think that for the reasons I stated before, Aftershock is just much better on Singed right now than both Spellbook and Aerie. Would not recommend Aerie. Spellbook maybe has some potential because it's cheesy, but I've been liking Aftershock a lot, and I think it's really good. So hopefully this video was a bit of an eye-opener into what the current meta of Singed is and the meta of top. Top meta is just fucking horrendous right now, honestly. And most games feel like they're just decided by a coin flip in your bot lane. But you can still win games occasionally by hard carrying in a game like this. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to call this video done. Like, comment, and subscribe as usual. I have another little update video coming for the channel soon. Big news happening that I'm going to be focusing a lot on it soon, but the reasons for which I will share. I've already shared it a bit on stream, but I will be making a video about it, what my plans are for 2018, the rest of 2018, the next 11 months. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Thanks for watching.